Good morning, my fellow listeners, and thank you again for coming back to my audiobook, The Regiment of the Damned Act 1. Sergeant Brock Johnson. In Part 6, we listened to Joel introducing himself to Commissar Thaddeus and vice versa. We also learned that Joel is indeed from Earth, as well as some personality conflicts between Commissar Thaddeus and Joel. And why did Todd get promoted to corporal? Let's find out together. Put on your imagination cap, sit back and relax, and try to push through with the adventures of astronaut Joel, the first space marine devil dog. Called Two Loud Knocks, Part 2, Round 2. Joel smiling and looking at Commissar Thaddeus. Round 2, sir.
Come in.
Thaddeus sees Joel's eyes looking over at the door, with his lips silently counting to 17 seconds. The door unlocks and opens with 3 guardsmen coming in. One of them being Corporal Todd again. All 3 guardsmen line up in a row, with Corporal Todd being in the middle.
Good evening, gentlemen, and good evening, my commissar. I have a report on why our guest stuff took so long, sir.
Why is that, Corporal Todd?
Tapping each finger on the table, wondering what excuse it is going to be this time.
As I was looking for the cause of the late delivery, I came upon these 2 guardsmen, Private Owens and Private Kilmer, standing by the door trying to open it. We do not know how, but someone overridden the security locks to the door so we could not open it. After trying to fetch the proper tools to bypass it, the door unlocked itself, my commissar.
Very well, Corporal Todd. Did you find Sergeant Hill and tell him to meet me by my doors yet?
Yes, I did, my commissar. He is waiting by your doors as we speak.
Private Owens, Private Kilmer, put the gear over here.
Pointing over to his right side of him.
Then wait with Sergeant Hill by my doors at once. You 2 are dismissed.
Both saying at the same time, yes, Commissar. And both moving fast and as ordered to. Walking to the door and turning around and both saying, good evening, Commissar. Closing the door and locking it. With Corporal Todd still standing in the same spot and looking straight ahead. Joel slowly eating his food and looking at Todd and Thaddeus.
Even as a corporal, I see you're still showing up late, Corporal Todd. What a waste of time.
My commissar, I waited for 15 seconds as requested.
It was 17 seconds, Corporal Todd.
Joel seeing Todd closing his eyes in shame looking at the ground.
Yes, my commissar, I will do better.
Wait outside the doors for us to finish, and in the meantime get something to eat.
Looking back at Todd.
You are dismissed from this room.
Yes, my commissar. Good evening, gentlemen.
Taking a step back.
Good evening, my commissar.
Good evening, Corporal Todd.
Good evening, Corporal Todd.
Joel giving a wave at him. Thaddeus looks back at Joel and looks at his tray of food with only one more bite left to eat.
Finish up, Joel, and put your pants on. We have business to discuss.
Stabbing a piece of steak and putting it in his mouth.
Yes, Commissar. What would you like to know, sir?
Picking up his pants, shirt and boots.
Let's talk about what's in your bags.
Sliding his food tray over to make room for his elbows.
Very well, sir. Should I just dump it here on the floor?
Thaddeus giving a nod.
Okay, let's see what survived my trip in.
Joel looking left at the wall with a big smile on his face, dumping out his sea bag onto the floor. Out comes 5 bags of original Skittles. 1 rubber ducky dressed like a pirate. 5 MREs, 4 of them being number 9 beef stew, 1 being number 4 cheese and vegetable omelet. 2 pairs of pants, olive green, cargo pants. 1 green belt with a leather man on it. 2 pairs of underwear gray boxer briefs. 1 small boxes with the words chess engraved on the side. 2 pairs of socks black. 2 pairs of t-shirts, 1 olive green, 1 black with a front pocket with the logo of some white animal stitched into it. 1 close-up magic handbook with the accessories. 1 stopwatch. Joel looking at for a few seconds and looking at Thaddeus with a surprised look on his face.
What is it?
Oh, nothing, sir. No worries, sir.
Joel gives another slight jerk of his bag. 2 books fell out, one, brown leather case logbook, followed by a thick black book, with gold at the very of each page with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and on the back, Don't Panic, followed by 2 pens and a yellow pencil. A small cylinder was about to fall out and hit the ground. Joel, seeing this and catching it before it hit the ground, making sure it was not tipped over the wrong way. At the same time, 2 pictures fell to the ground. Thaddeus leans over to pick them up, looking at the top one.
Who are these people in this picture?
Well, sir, they were my crew.
What were their names?
Well, from left to right is Dr. Billy Swanson. He was the medical officer. Lucas Birch was the pilot of the ship. Michael Anderson, he was the engineer of the group. We did not like him. Then me, as you see in the last one, was the science officer, Dr. Kyle Hill, very funny guy.
Who took the picture of all of you?
Flipping the picture over to look at the backside of it, staring at it intensely, and looking over at Joel, giving a side look to the wall.
The captain of the ship, sir. His name is John Godier. There were a couple of others, but I did not know their names. They were in a different part of the ship. The background you are seeing was our shared area.
Thaddeus looked at the picture once again and gave it back to Joel.
What was your mission?
We were evaluating a new drive system to try to go as fast as possible from one point to another in space. Some would say it is like a particle accelerator, where we take 2 particles and smash them together, and it opens a point in time where you can simply step through and be at that point of reference in.
What was the name of your ship you were on?
Joel paused for a second and looked at Thaddeus for being rude for interrupting.
Sir, I was on the USS Event, and we had a sister ship which was getting built in the planning phase called the US Event Horizon.
Joel, pausing to make sure the commissar does not have any follow-up questions.
Some would say it's a particle accelerator. I like to think it's somewhat like how you would travel through the warp, except without all the chaos and demons and gates of hell opening, or so we thought.
Taking a sip of the clear liquid from his cup.
What do you mean, so you thought?
You know how when you go through the warp, there's certain things that must be done. Like the people who make the shield around the ship so that it does not get attacked by demons and chaos or whatever. Well, that happened to us, but not on a biblical scale as a normal jump into the warp. I saw things that no man should never have seen. I have seen the devilish entities of man all within seconds. I saw my crew turn on each other. I saw my crew killed each other, and my crew made deals with the devils. Tell you one thing, sir, going through that warp was like going through the center of the sun and having their insides twist inside. I watched my hands melt before my eyes 100 times over like the phosphex flame, and there was nothing I could do, no way to ease the pain, and that only lasted for 2 seconds. Now, sir, imagine doing that for 60 seconds.
Why is it that you are the only one who survived?
Sir, this is the part where I warned you about, where if the right people hear this conversation, this entire world will be exterminated. Not because of the evil entity of the warp, but from sheer fact of the information that is in my head right now. If you really want to know, I recommend it to you. If there are any recordings in this room, turn it off. I survived for over 2 months on my ship orbiting this planet. I was alone for 2 months, by myself, and as I was looking down on this planet, I noticed things which will never be truly explained by the laws of physics or understanding.
Thaddeus looks over to his right and gives a nod. End taped 7:58 p.m. 13 days ago. Hello, my followers. Thank you for taking the time and listening to my audiobook. Turn in next week for the next adventure in Part 7 in Regiment of the Damned Act 1, Sergeant Brock Johnson. Called, Chapter 4, A Dead Albatross Tells No Secrets. We are getting so close to the end of Act 1. And I cannot tell you how excited I am to introduce Act 2. The production of Act 2 is going to be slower than Act 1, as Act 2 is still in the writing phase, but I will have little side stories, hopefully to keep you all entertained. Again, thank you so much, and please support by liking, commenting, subscribing, and hitting the bell for notification to the book of astronaut Joel.